Hello. Before I start my informative speech for EN150, I have my index cards. Have you ever heard of the phrase, "don't drink the Kool-Aid"? And if you have, do you know exactly where it originated from? Well, if not, that's okay. I'm here to inform you on the events which led to the popular use of this phrase. As David Veltman explains in an article, on November 18th, 1978, the charismatic cult leader named Jim Jones led over 900 of his followers to their untimely demise. The People's Temple was a well-established group of people who lived by and believed in socialist ideas and Christian beliefs. In the center of it all was Jim Jones, a father, a husband, but most importantly, the leader and the father figure for the followers of the People's Temple. The Church of the People's Temple was in the heart of San Francisco. Here, Jones would put on fake healings of the ill and the injured to manipulate more people into joining his cult. He gave his followers a reason and a hope of life after witnessing a horrible war. So many people found refuge within the walls of this temple that Jim Jones decided to build up his own city in a country named Guyana in South America. Once the city was established, it became named Jonestown in honor of its leader, Jim Jones. Philip Zimbardo explained that in Jonestown, the civilization was built out of nothing. His loyal followers helped him build his paradise on earth through long and intensive labor. Once the city was established, Jones was able to live in his paradise as he wished, surrounded by his followers. The city was extremely and completely remote. It was located in the jungle, and only one radio was in the surrounding premises as a technical device used only for communication between temple members. At Jonestown, Jim began to harshly manipulate his followers in a variety of ways. The people were not given sufficient amounts of food. They were always left hungry, which created a constant hostile environment of exhaustion. Along with the food issue, guns and guards were always on top of the people of the temple. Jim made this paradise into a prison for those he once seemed to want to give the world to. Many in the community tried to escape, but once Jones found out about the deflectors and those who wanted to leave, he was willing to punish them into submission. The very few people who were lucky enough to escape the community were giving the outside world a look into what the situation in Jonestown was really starting to look like. A former California congressman became aware of rumors surrounding the civilization, and so he called for a visit into the town as a check of well-being. This congressman unfortunately never made it home from his trip to Jonestown. Jones was becoming paranoid that the outside world was going to and would destroy everything he had created. This is what inevitably led to the last day at Jonestown. On the last day, November 18th, 1978, it all ended. Everything that was built up for decades had been destroyed. Jones, the charismatic leader, did his best to persuade his followers to willingly drink cyanide-laced Kool-Aid to escape life. This way, the outside world would not be able to punish Jones or his followers for any of the wrongdoings they have committed. And those who did not cooperate, well, they were forcibly injected with the cyanide poison. Jim Jones allowed his charisma to build up his following in a quick and seemingly harmless way. However, he ended up leading hundreds of his own followers to their deaths. He spoke words that connected with his audience, never seeming to be demanding or harmful. He presented himself in a loving and understanding way so he could alter the reality that his followers were surrounded with. And this is what ultimately created the reason for his followers to join him in death on their last day. Thank you so much for listening to my speech. I can't wait to hear all of yours. Have a good night.